Welcome. Welcome, everybody. Glad you guys are here. Welcome to my open office hours deal review. And my goal for this video series that I just started doing, this is now my second week, is I'm going to be showing you how I analyze deals pretty much, whether it's houses or vacant land. I'm going to be walking through the steps of how I analyze a deal, what I think it's worth, what I think you could sell it for, how to analyze maybe some of the properties and all of that. So I'm looking here. We got a bunch of people on Zoom. And so what I've done is I've asked people to submit some deals in advance. And I've got two deals that I'm going to be looking at here, and they're both vacant land deals. And I think we should just jump right in. Okay. Now I have to be a little sensitive on the information I'm showing because I just don't want to give away any personal information. And if this is a deal that a student is working on, I don't want to give it away to somebody. Now, but we'll just see what happens and how it goes. Excuse me. One of my favorite things to do is analyze deals. I like looking at a property, whether it's a house or a vacant lot, and saying, all right, well, this is what I think it's worth. And now that the market is shifting, going down, you also have to think about what's this property going to be worth in 6 months? What's it going to be worth especially if it's a house and you're rehabbing, right? With the downward trend that you're seeing in a lot of markets. And it's market specific. When you list that property, it's not going to be worth the same as it was 6 months ago. So thinking about these things, it is kind of a science, but it's also an art. And so my goal of these videos is to show you kind of how I look at a particular deal. A lot of you are right now watching. Most of you guys are on Zoom right now with me. So I'd appreciate the comments. Let me know what you guys think. What about this, Joe? You forgot to look at that. Let me know your thoughts on that as well. All right. The first deal, I'm going to share my screen here. And Sam, thanks, or Jamelia, thanks for monitoring the waiting room. I want to make sure nobody is waiting here. Okay, Dan's computer, give me some of your ideas there. That'd be cool. This is a property in Bay County, Florida. One of my favorite tools when I'm looking at land is a tool called MapRight. And let's look this property up here. I'm going to create a new map for the state of Florida. And then I need to go up here to the upper left, do a search for parcel ID, and then type in Bay County. Now, the guy submitting this deal, Mark, invests in notes. He buys notes. And so a land investor, from what I understand here, wants to sell you a note that they have on this property. I'm going to have to manually type that in. And so I'm going to try to just tell you what I think the vacant lot is worth and what I would offer it. Now let's get an idea. Oh, we got a bunch of them here, huh? You know what, Mark, I may need to know if you have like the GPS coordinates. 00519. Because in Bay County, I'm getting a lot of properties. You see all these properties here on the left? I need to know either the name of the owner . Well, you gave me the address here. Let's try looking that up. So here's the address in Google Maps. All right. Let's zoom out so we can see where it is. So Bay County, that's the Panhandle. Not a hyper market. Let me show you guys something. One of the things that I like to look for when I'm buying land is this a county that's in high demand? And one of the ways I like to do that is starting with map, or I'm sorry, starting with LandWatch. And I'm looking at the whole state of Florida, and you can see here on the left, you can see the most popular counties here, right? And if you go into the very bottom and mark solds, now take that with a grain of salt. Those are just solds that were marked as sold on LandWatch. And don't know how far back that goes. That could be 4 years ago, 5 years ago, 6 months ago. We don't know. But if you look at that now, you see, and if you click on see more, one of the cool things I like about this is you see all of the counties ranked from most listings to least listings, whether they're active or sold. And this property again, it is Bay County. I don't see Bay County. There it is, right down there. So it's not one of the most in-demand counties, but it's not that it's bad, but it's kind of down. It may be in the upper third. Now, the other thing I like to look at then is for example, let's look at Zillow. Now I'm going to type in Bay County, Florida. Hey, Sam, by the way, how is my screen resolution? Is it good?
I'm sorry.
Much better than last time. Yeah, it's looking really good.
I don't know if you guys heard that. My projector back behind me is speaking to me. Sam, are you there? Screen resolution is good. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mark. I saw it. And Mark, I'll unmute you here in a minute if you want. And those GPS coordinates help. Let me make this Zoom window a little bigger so I can see all the chat. So what I like to do when I'm looking at whether a county is a good county or not, you can do this in Redfin or Zillow. I want to look at, all right, well, how much land activity is actually going on in the recent past? So let's look at no minimum, no maximum, last 6 months. There's 707 solds in the last 6 months in Bay County, Florida. That's good, right? But let's compare that to Lee County. Remember, 707, right? Lee County is 4,028. How about Charlotte County? Charlotte County has 2,549. Marion County, is 944. Okay, that's not bad. Citrus County, $1,150. So by just looking at this, I'm not saying Bay is a bad county, but it's not in the top 10. Just be aware of that. By the way, if you're looking at other states, sometimes Redfin has better data than Zillow does. All right. So anyway, I'm not an expert of Bay County, but I'm going to guess this is a really kind of an up and coming area because it does have so much water access. And this whole area between Pensacola, Destin, or Panama Beach, whatever that whole area is. Oh, shoot. That is a very, very fast growing area. And Florida is growing like bonkers. A lot of people from Georgia, from Missouri, from Oklahoma, from Texas, they drive here to vacation in this area, especially along 30A, Fort Walton Beach. Okay, anyway. Looking at this property here, let's zoom out a little bit where it is, see where it is. I like it because it's a rural area, which means usually we can buy them cheaper. And we sell them to more recreational buyers, people that want to buy land to go hunting, ride their four-wheelers, get off the grid. What I like to do also is look at the area, is there road access? Looks like there's some road there. I'm also looking for, are there houses in the area? If there are, that means there's maybe utilities. There's probably electric, which is good. There's some kind of trailer there. That's interesting. And this doesn't look like a subdivision, so I'm going to guess there's not strict HOAs, which is good. The less strict the HOAs are, the less requirements, the easier those properties are to sell, right? Going back to Street View, one of the other things I like to do is pull the yellow dude around and see where I get street views. And so stop moving. You can see there's an area right here with the street view that's kind of blue. And this is just helpful to see kind of what the area looks like. Now, this picture was taken on the bottom there. You see December 2007. So not great quality, but it's got dirt roads. Just gives you an idea what the area looks like. And we can kind of scroll down a little bit here to wow, this is interesting, right? That road is gated. Is that good or bad? Oh, there's part of this it's not. So that's interesting. So maybe this is somebody's private land. But you see the power lines that's heading towards the property. That's good. Okay. Let's try to find this property on MapRight. I want to see, is this in a floodplain, wetlands or something like that, right? Now there's different ways to do that. One of the things that sometimes you can do, sometimes you have the address, sometimes you don't. When I went to MapRight and I searched by parcel ID, I had about 12 properties come up here on the left, which isn't doing me any good. So I need to search for another way. I'm going to search by address. And I'm going to copy this address. Just keep in mind, a lot of vacant land doesn't have a physical address at it. So this works. I'm going to zoom in. And the owner of this property current owner of it is Land Supplier LLC. And they're based out of Fountain, Florida. No, maybe not. That's weird. The parcel address is the same as the owner's address. That's interesting. They just bought this property March 22. March of the year 2022. They bought it for $3,000. Okay. You know, if they sold this property recently, a lot of times you can go do a Google search for that address and see any ads they might have had on the property. Sometimes you can look here on Zillow. Like if they sold it with owner financing. And Mark, I will unmute you in a second. In fact, let's just unmute Mark right now. Mark, I'm going to find you on here. Mark. Hey, Mark, can you unmute yourself?
There you go. Hey,
Oh,
Joe.
why can't I hear you? Hold on. I think my settings are screwed up here. I have to. Okay. Mark, can you say something?
Hi, Joe. Can you hear me now? I can hear you, but I am unmuted on my
Hey,
side.
Sam, are you there? Can you say something?
Testing. I'm here.
Yeah, just hold on, Mark. Joe can't hear us. I tried talking to
Right.
him earlier. He couldn't hear me. So
Unmute your
Okay.
speaker or increase your volume. I am doing that and I can't hear anything. I heard something.
I'm unmute.
Check
I'm
1, 2.
unmuted. Testing 1, 2.
Gotcha,
Testing.
guys. Sorry, that's my fault. Good. All right, Mark. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
So give me a little history on this property here.
Yeah, we're a note company, but we're really excited about flipping dirt and selling it on owner financing. We just happened to be contacted by a guy a couple weeks ago. We bought a couple lots from him that he has sold on owner financing. We bought the notes. We haven't bought any lots ourselves yet.
Okay.
He bought this lot for, as you said, $3,000. He sold it for $12,900. We're trying to get a value on it, and we didn't have access to these tools yet. We couldn't find good comps when we were making him offers, and
Okay.
You were looking for something to value, so
No, it's good. Yeah, this is excellent. Really good. I like this. So just so you all know the numbers then. He bought it for $3,000. He sold it for, what'd you say, 12,000?
12,900. He says he could have sold it for 1,400, 14,000 all day. Now,
Yeah,
is
I
what-
believe him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe him on that. Have you used Price at all to get comp reports?
Um, I I have business partners, and they're doing a lot of the research for this. I'm the numbers guy. I have not dug into price very much yet.
I like Priced a lot. If
We did sign up for their annual plan.
All right. Well, let me show you how to get a comp report on this. I think you'll like it, especially since you're the numbers guy. But one of the first things I'm going to do is, excuse me, I'm going to copy the parcel number that MapRight gave me. You gave me a parcel number that was good, but it just had too many numbers in it. And when I searched for it in MapRight, it kind of gave me 12 different results. So if you can see on my screen, I'm in MapRight. I have that specific property and I'm copying that parcel ID. And then I'm going to go here to comp report in Priced. I'm going to select a state. I'm going to select that county, and then I'm going to paste that APN number in here. And I'm going to click run report. And it's going to give me about a 14-page report on that property. That's pretty fascinating. And it's going to tell me what they think the property could sell for, what it's worth. And, if you were going to offer it 25 cents on the dollar, what would you offer for it to buy it? So that's going to take a second here. But the other thing I like to do is I like to look that property up in Zillow. And so because this property has an address, I went straight to Zillow and let me just show you kind of what I did there. I'm going to go to Zillow here. I'm just going to paste that address in the search window. All right. And I'm going to search that property right there and it brings it up. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to X out of here. And what you have here on the map is right in the center of this map is where that property is located. And I'm going to start zooming out. Now what I'm doing is I'm going to look at actives and solds. Let's look at actives first. I'm looking at land. And this property is how many acres? 0.9 acres. So it's a little less than 1 acre, right? So I'm looking at land only. And I know, Mark, you muted yourself. And I have to give you permission to unmute yourself back. So I'll unmute you if we need you. I'm going to do a search from between 1/2 acre to 2 acres. And I'm looking at actives, so I don't care how long it's been on Zillow. I want all of them. And I'm going to start zooming out until I get comps. And I'm looking for active comps. When you're doing land, active comps are just as important sometimes, if not more important than sold comps. And I'm sorting this on the right from low to high. So here's a 1/2 acre that's currently for sale for $13,400. 1.6 acre for sale for $14,900. 1.6. I'm going to zoom out one more time. And this also shows me where the activity is. There's more stuff going on up here, less stuff going on here, which is not bad, but this means it's probably an area that has fewer lots. It's more, sometimes the value of these are better because they're faster, they're easier and faster to sell because they have less restrictions. So even though ours is 0.9 acres, I'm looking here and I see some pricing. And the cool thing about this, and let me go to FSBOs here for sale by owners. You don't want to ignore the FSBOs. But I'm looking at agent listings. One of the cool things, there's a tool from Pebble called, it's free. It's a Pebble pricing tool. If you just go to pebblerei.com, it's a free plug. They're a land investing website and CRM. One of the things you'll see here, you can opt in to get this free pricing comping tool. Okay. So when you're in a place like Zillow, where'd it go here? Hold on. When you're in Zillow, I'm looking at these agent listings here. I'm scrolling down to load. You need to load all of the properties that are on there. That's why I'm scrolling down to load them all up. Okay. Then I'm going to click this pebble icon. There's 40 that they've found. I'm going to click save all. Okay. Then I'm going to click out of it. I'm going to scroll all the way down to the bottom. And then I'm going to go to page 2. I'm going to scroll all the way down again just so that they keep on loading. All right. Then I'm going to click on that pebble thing again. And I'm going to click save all. So now I've got 80 properties here that they just quickly scraped. And you can see this table here. And there are 80 properties in there, right? And you can tell, this is what's so cool about it, is you can gives me right here the median price per acre of all those properties. That's the average list price, median price per acre of all of them. It's $13,253. Okay, so just looking at that number, if you get a calculator, where'd my calculator go? There it is. If you get a calculator, dang it. All right. I do 0.9 acres times 13,253. That comes out to about $11,930. If you look at the average price per acre, that's going to get you a number higher. Sometimes what I'll do is I take the average of the median and the average to get something in the middle. 20,775 plus 13,253 equals divided by 2 equals. So the average between those two numbers is $17,014 an acre. $17,014 times 0.9. And that comes up with an average value of about 15,312. Okay, so I'm gonna write these numbers down right now. Based on the actives, it's worth between the number I did before was where'd it go here? 11,930. And then 15,312. So this little tool here, I like because you can just, it quickly scrapes, gives you the median and the average price per acre. You see the median price, the average price there. All right. Sometimes it doesn't work for sold. So if I go to solds, click apply, I'm going to go to more and I'm going to say sold in the last 6 months. Click apply. It's working. Zillow might be frozen here. I don't know what's going on. Let's look at realtor.com. I'm going to put that property in here again. Realtor.com didn't find that address. Let's try this one more time here. Paste the address. Sam Jamila, are you there?
Yep, I'm here.
All right. So you can still see me and hear me?
Yes. Looking good.
All right, thanks. I don't know, Zillow and everything's slowing down for me. It's like, I don't know what's going on. You guys can still see my screen. You can hear me.
Yeah.
Both. All right, well, Realtor.com's giving me a hard time. Let's look at Redfin real quick. I'm in Redfin. I'm going to paste the address. There we go. All right, good. Here it is in Redfin. I'm going to click on the map. And then I'm going to click on a little button here on the lower left called Nearby Homes for Sale. All right, what that does is it brings up a map on the left, and that property we were looking at will be right in the center of it. And then I can go here to for sale, change to solds. Let's look at the last 6 months. Home type, land. Done. Let's do one more filter for lot size. Let's do 1/2 acre to 2 acres. Click no results, but now to get results, we just zoom out. But it keeps that property in the center of the map. I'm looking at this number. It says 0 right here. Okay. Zoom out again. 7 homes. There we go. Now we can sort this from low to high. And these are some of the solds. So this looks good to me, right? You're seeing some solds here. This is what investors are buying these things for. But you see, here's a sold for 10. Here's a good comp for 13, 16. Sometimes you can click on them and get pictures. All right, cool. If you want more comps, you can zoom out again. Now you've got a bunch more of them in here. One of the things that I like to do sometimes is from this table, you can actually download this table into a spreadsheet right here by clicking this on Redfin. And then you can get into the spreadsheet and play with it a little bit. We'll look at that at another time. Now, if you go to photos, sometimes this Pebble tool also works on Redfin. So I'm going to scroll all the way down just to load all of these photos that are in here, right? So that Pebble scraper has a big list of things to look at. So I just scrolled all the way down. I'm going to click on this Pebble tool. I'm going to clear all, and it's found 40 results on this page. I'm going to click Save All. And there you go. It brought up all of those Redfin lots. It brought up the price it sold and the acres. And now it's giving me another median price per acre and an average price per acre. Now you could go in and like, it's got some properties in here. If I scroll all the way down that are 100, that's sold for 125 grand, 80 grand. So you could actually delete them from right here. Okay. And then go look again, and it's adjusted. It made it better. So you can see the median price for all of those properties that are on this Redfin page are $12,356 per acre, where the average is $14,898 per acre. Pretty cool, huh? I really like that Pebble tool a lot. I think you guys will find that useful. Then you click for sale. Let's look at this for sales. Click done. Give Redfin a minute here. I'm really using a lot of bandwidth for some reason because it's just not. Maybe I should have restarted my computer. I'm hardwired in too. Try one more time. Let me refresh this page. Maybe Redfin knows what I'm doing here and it doesn't like it. So they're all right. While that's opening up, I don't know what's going on here. Let's look at that comp report that we downloaded. I'm going to open it up on another window here. All right, I'm going to do a new share. All right, you guys see this PDF here? Type in the chat if you see the PDF. Okay. This is that comp report, Mark, that Priced will give you, and I think you'll like this. Let me try to make it wider and zoom in a little bit maybe so you guys can see it better. All right. This gives me some information on the property, who the owner is, the owner's mailing address, which is interesting. It's the same address as the property. I don't know how they did that. You got the GPS coordinates, which sometimes makes it helpful to find. And there's some pricing analysis breakdown. They're suggesting the market price is $26,141. And I'll show you how they got that in a minute here. But they're looking at the county pricing, the city pricing based on all the properties that have the fountain as the city in the mailing address, property address. And they're also looking at the geo-adjusted market price. The geo-adjusted market price is it's like an algorithm they have. And so based on the geo-adjusted pricing, they're saying it's worth about 26. Based on all the properties that have the city fountain in the property address, they're saying it's about 35 grand. Based on the entire county, it's worth maybe 55. So you kind of take that with a grain of salt. I always go with the lowest one because I want to be the most conservative. But let me show you kind of how they got that. Here they have a comp overview. They've scraped 10 solds, 10 for sales. 8 of them are on Zillow, 10 are on Realtor, some on Lands of America, etc. And you can download all the comps right here. If you click this button, it will download all the comps into a spreadsheet, but it also shows them to you down below. Here's a comp overview chart, the scatter chart. Here are all the for sale comps. So these are all properties within what, a mile and a half or so. No, wait. Those are acreage. Distance are all within 3 miles. These are properties that are similar in size. And you can see the price per acres that these are advertising for. And if you click on any of these links, it'll take you to that actual listing. So if I click on Lands of America here, I'm going to open it up in Google Chrome. I'll share my new screen. Oh boy, I should have restarted my computer before. My whole computer is really slowing down. All right, let's do this. I'm going to shut down my webcam, and I'm using this software called Ecamm Live. I'm going to shut that down. I'm going to shut my video off, try it a different way. Okay, maybe that will help. So now you see it brings up this listing, half an acre nearby for 20 grand. And this is an available active listing. Let me go back to that PDF. Let's look at solds. It gives you links for all of those solds as well and the dates that they were sold. You can see some pricing here. A lot of them sold for 16 grand. All right. Slope overview, septic, road coverage breakdown, road coverage conditions. And this is the table that I like to look at. When I'm making an offer on a property at 25 cents on the dollar, I basically am looking at, all right, the county offer, the city offer, and the geo-adjusted offer price. So if I'm making an offer at 25%, I usually look at these 3 numbers right here, this one, and this one, and I start with the lower one. So the fact that they bought it for 3 grand, I think is a pretty good deal. All right. And by the way, Mark, people are asking in the Zoom room here, what's your contact info? If you buy notes, people want your contact information. So if you're looking for more notes, maybe it's a good time to share it if you want. All right, subdivision price index, blah, blah, blah. A lot of good stuff here you can get from this comp report that I think is pretty cool. It's pretty cool stuff to get. Let's go back to my browser here. I forgot, I wanted to look at the flood zone. This is especially important in Florida. Good, there's Mark's email address in the Zoom chat, okay? All right, so I like looking at, especially in Florida, you need to know is it in a wetland or is it flood zones or what? How do you figure that out? So within MapRight, I like to zoom out a little bit. And I like to then change the overlays right here. And I scroll down. I'm going to check on FEMA floodplain. And you can see the areas where it is a floodplain there. And then I like to look at wetlands. There we go. So we're good. It's not in a shaded area. You see that? One of the other things I like to do, and this is not as important in Florida for obvious reasons, as you'll see in a minute, is look at a 3D rendering of the drawing of the map. We were just doing, looking at a property in Virginia, I think it was, or North Carolina. And the 3D rendering is really important. It looks fine on a map that you're looking down on it, right? But once you look at a 3D rendering, you can see, oh, my computer's frozen. Sam, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Hi,
I can see
Jamelia.
you. Oh, you're frozen now.
Yeah, I'm complete, but you can hear me okay?
Yeah.
This is amazing. I was going to say, as long as you can hear me, I'll still keep on talking and see what my computer does. I was saying that when you're in an area with a lot of hills or mountains, it's really important you look at the 3D rendering of the plot so you can tell if is it on a side of a slope, is what percentage of that vacant lot is actually buildable. And yeah, Jamelia, I don't know what I'm going to need to do here.
Your voice is perfect. Your video isn't.
Yeah, my computer's frozen. I can't do anything.
Yeah, I can't see your screen now either.
All right, so I think it's time to buy a new computer. Probably should have done this a while ago.
Hey,
Uh,
Joe,
so-
I just stopped sharing your screen for you, just so you know. Maybe that helps.
Say again.
I just stopped your screen share.
Yeah, okay, but my computer's completely frozen. I'm gonna have to maybe do a hard reboot if it doesn't come back. I can't do anything. Okay, so what I was saying was it's important to look at the 3D rendering of the map, because then it will tell you what kind of slope you're on, and that can help you in your negotiating. Mark, I'm going to have to reboot my computer. All of you all need to stay in Zoom, and I'm going to come back in, but it might take me a couple minutes. Mark, I think this is a good deal. The guy bought it for $3,000. He's sold it for 13 or something. Just looking at my preliminary numbers from that priced comp report, looking at what I scraped real quickly on Zillow and Redfin. I think it's a good note. Now, the only thing I can't tell you is the buyer. You know, are they a good quality buyer? I don't know how long the payment history has been, what percent, what interest rate they're charging. You know, so I'm not sure what to look for there. But I can tell you this: I in my experience selling land with owner financing in Florida, for every one call I get from a buyer looking to buy land with cash, I'll get 3 to 5 buyers looking to buy with owner financing. So if this buyer doesn't work out, you just find another one. So, okay, I'm going to have to restart my computer, and I'm going to just hold down my power button. If I lose you guys, I will actually.
Hey, Joe, go ahead and assign me or Jamelia as the main host. That way the Zoom should stay.
I can't do anything.
Oh, you can't do anything. Okay,
That's
well,
right.
we'll stick around if we can.
All right, I'll be right back. Sorry, guys.
Hey, hold on tight, everyone. If you could still hear me, which I think we're still live, so go ahead and type in the chat if you have any thoughts or feedback on what we've seen so far. If you're watching us live, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment on what you thought of Joe's interpretation. Is Joe right? Was this a good deal? Was it a good price? Mark, I appreciate you bringing the offer to us. I think it was a great opportunity for Joe to kind of show you guys how to do some comping. And yeah, so go ahead and throw some ideas in the chat. I know Joe said, Joe said that he had one more to review. So I'm guessing we'll be looking at that when he hops back on. If you guys are inspired and have another opportunity for him to look at, if he has time, go ahead and throw it in the chat. If it's a parcel ID or a piece of land, we'll have Joe take a look at it. And otherwise, hopefully he'll be back here in just a minute or two. I'm just seeing if there's any questions I can ask. Natalie, I see your question. I'm not qualified to answer that, but it's a good question. I'll make sure to present it to Joe. Mark, how much would you discount the note for buyer? Okay, some good questions going on here. Yeah, great question, Greg. Mark, Greg was asking, what is the 8-month seasoning? Feel free to respond to that if you have a good answer for that. Paul says, even though the cell numbers are not huge, I think it is one of the counties that is good for investors. That's a good point, Paul. I mean, Joe talks about this a lot, but when you're initially looking for counties to target, if you're following Joe's teachings and what he talks about, you want to find a county or zip code where there is a lot of activity, because you want to be able to have properties that are available to buy, and you want to be able to have buyers that will buy the property from you. So the more activity there is, the better chance you have of success. But of course, if you have an opportunity in a particular county or zip code that's maybe not as popular, nothing wrong with that. I'm from rural Wisconsin. Where I'm from, there's not a lot of activity, but I know that if I found a property and listed it, it probably would have a buyer, because the people that are there are looking for those types of things. So some good notes there. Mark, seasoning is, how long has the borrower been paid? Good feedback, Mark. All right, looks like we got Joe back. Give him a second to turn his audio on. Joe, you there?
Yes. What?
Awesome. We've been on the whole time.
Oh my gosh.
So we didn't lose the stream. We didn't lose the Zoom call. We are here and we are ready for you. There's been some good questions that have come in.
Good. Thank you.
But yeah, absolutely. Take it
All right,
over.
give me 1 second here just to fix a couple things. Sam was telling me I need to buy a new computer for some of my streaming, and I totally agree. Okay. I'm actually even streaming back again into YouTube. So here I'm back. All right.
Yeah. Actually, Joe, the stream never stopped. I think it
Oh,
switched
really?
me over to post automatically. So I think we're good to go.
Okay. So Mark, let me unmute you, Mark. Let me find you here. And Mark, ask to unmute. So go ahead and unmute yourself, Mark.
I'm here.
Good. All right. So did that help at all?
Very much so, yes. The gentleman that owns the note will be very happy that you did that, because we gave him a rather low offer. We offered him like $5,500 for the note, which was about 60%. And we can definitely go higher than that with a good valuation.
What do you think about the buyer who's paying the note? How long has he been paying?
He's been paying 8 months. It's a 60-month term, 10% interest. The guy that sells these lots does not get social security numbers or credit check, nothing. He sold it for $12,900. He took a $2,500 down payment. He paid $3,000 for the lot, so he's only in it for $500.
And so you bought the note from him for how much?
We haven't bought it yet, but we offered him $5,500. He wants more, because he said the value of the lot was about $14,000, and he's probably right on that one. Looks like.
So why, this is good education for everybody else listening to this who wants to maybe sell some of their notes. What made you determine an offer price at 60% of the note value? Was it because he didn't do enough work in pre-screening the buyer or qualifying them?
There's 6 things that determine the value of a note. It's the collateral, which is the land. We thought it was probably worth maybe $5,000 to $10,000, but we couldn't nail it down. And we try and be at 70% loan to value on our loans. It's the borrower. He knew nothing about the borrower at all. That's the second thing. Third thing is, how long has the note been around? That was pretty decent. 8 months out of 60 is a pretty decent seasoning. Let's see, the terms of the note. 10% is a great note with 60 months term. That was all good. What else am I forgetting? The paperwork. He sells on a land contract. The land contract is good. It's got some typos in it, and there's a section that if we really did ever have to foreclose on it, it could get a little messy. So we're trying to coach him on that and get him to clear up that wording in his paperwork so that his notes have more value.
Let me ask you a question about that. If it's a land contract, why do you have to foreclose on it?
Worst case scenario.
Worst case. Okay.
Worst, his land contract is great. They can probably have the land back in 30 days in Florida. But worst case, as a note buyer, he had typos in his documents. They were not clean.
Would you rather buy a note that was more traditional owner financing where the buyer did get the deed, or would you rather buy a note that was a contract for deed? Does that make sense?
In the land space, we really like what he's doing with the unrecorded land contract, so we can take it back. We don't have to deal with Dodd-Frank. We don't have to deal with RESPA. There's a lot of things you don't have to deal with in land.
Right.
Typically, we've bought up, most of all our notes have been on residential properties. We've bought a lot of land contracts. They get a lot. You have to worry about foreclosures a lot more with those.
Now, Paul here in the chat says in Florida, it doesn't matter if you have a land contract, you still have to foreclose. He said he's talked to 2 lawyers and multiple seasoned investors. The laws changed recently.
On a house, that's true.
Okay.
On an unrecorded land contract, if the contract is written so that if the borrower misses a payment for X period of time, and this guy gave them 30 days, he could void the land contract after a 30-day late.
Oh, interesting.
The seller still has the deed in his name. It would be up to the buyer to then go to court and make a claim that the land contract was voided inappropriately.
Okay, interesting. And then even in Florida, if you had to foreclose, is it a big deal?
It can take a while. Like Florida's, which is strange. You'd think Florida would be easy to foreclose in, but it can take a year or so on a residential house.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know about land yet.
I wonder if you could, while you're doing the foreclosure on the land, because you're going to get it back, if you could do maybe a lease on the property to start getting some monthly income in for that property so somebody can use it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, if it's a land contract and the deed is in your name, maybe, but I'm not a lawyer. I don't play one on TV, so I don't know.
Cool. For me, I like to keep all my notes. I like the cash flow, but this is interesting. You did put your email in the Zoom chat for anybody who wants to reach out to you. And
we like notes too. We were tired landlords, and we got into the note business in 2016. We love notes. However, we really we met this guy with the land about the same time we met you, and we're really excited about land.
Could you put your email in one more time into the Zoom chat? Yeah, I'd appreciate that.
It's Mark Bruce at equityfirstfunding.com.
Mark Bruce at equityfirstfunding.com. Cool. I'm going to add you to my contacts as well. Did I get your email right there? All right, good. Nice. Bruce, you muted yourself. All right, we got one other deal to look at here. And
I'm still here.
Oh, good. All right.
I had to cough last time when I muted myself. I didn't know I wouldn't be able to unmute.
Yeah, it's our settings here. So my apologies. I might reach out to you, Mark, because this is something I know a lot of my students are asking about. And I'd like to interview some more people about it. And, because there's some people out there that you can make sometimes just as much money, if not more, by selling the note than you can wholesaling it. And
Yes, absolutely.
it's easier in some ways.
Yes.
Interview.
I'd love to chat anytime.
Well, you know what, Mark, I'm gonna do something right here real quick. I'm gonna send you a link, Mark, because I would like to go to that link I just sent you in Zoom chat, and let's get on the phone. You can view my calendar with that link, and let's talk, because maybe I can get you on a podcast or something.
Okay.
Cool. All right. Thanks, Mark. We got somebody else that submitted a deal. Let's pull that one up. And then good, Jason submitted a deal here. Let me look at my calendar to make sure I have so many meetings. Okay. Where was I? Okay.
That link didn't work, Joe. Just call me when you want.
Yeah, you have to type it in.
Okay. Got it. Sorry.
Okay, cool. Deal review open hours. Here we go. Pulling up a deal submitted from Melody. This was a property in Roanoke, Tennessee. And zip code is 37763. I have a parcel ID. It's 3.01 acres. Melody, are you on right now? Let me pull you up. Melody, good. Can you unmute yourself?
Okay.
How are you?
I'm good. Thank you.
Nice. All right. Tell us about this property. Is this something that they've responded to your marketing?
Yes.
Okay. And have you sent them an offer yet? Or are you working on that?
No, on this one, I recall the comps had a huge wide range and it was confusing. And I think it was having to do with how close to the water you are. If I remember right, I look at like a lot of every day. I have to refresh my memory.
Okay, so I'm gonna let's look this property up on MapRight, and I'm gonna share my screen. And feel free to interrupt me or ask me questions as we're doing this here. This is in Rowan. Paste the APN and see if anything comes up. Oh, good. That's nice. All right, that looks like a lake.
Yes. So I decided I would wait till you looked at it before I'd make an offer because I could be really way off. If I remember, the comps had a huge range of like, what was it? 100-something thousand,
Okay.
14,000, I can't remember.
Melody, I just muted your mic because there's a lot of feedback coming on your end. It's okay. Don't do anything. You don't need to do anything, but I'm going to ask you, I'll unmute you later when I got another question for you. So I'll do my best. While we're looking at this property, one of the things I like to do is, again, like I talked about a little bit, is look at the 3D. And if I click on 3D, I want to make sure, is this on, what percent of this property is on? Oh, my computer froze again. Oh, I'm back. You guys hear me?
I
Sam
hear you
Jamili.
and I see you. I see your
Okay.
screen too.
Oh. Wow. Maybe, do you think MapRight is causing my computer to crash?
Maybe because the map isn't loading.
Well, okay. Forget MapRight for now. Let me go back here. Let me turn 3D off. I'm going to refresh this page. All right. So type in the chat, guys, if you can hear me. Sorry about my technical hassles. I don't know what's going on. All right, thank you. I'm going to type in this APN number again. Let's go look at the property. It's 1 acre exactly. Sometimes I like to go see the owner bought it in 1999. Looks like he bought it for $32,500 back in 99. I'm not going to do the 3D because I'm not sure if it's going to crash my computer. But if you want to see a 3D, click that. It might be better actually to look at the 3D on Google Maps. So what I'm going to see, if you see on the lower right screen there, there's really small fonts. It's the GPS coordinates. I'm going to write them down. 35.8009, negative 84.5121. And then I want to go into Google Maps because I can view 3D in Google Maps. And I'm going to type that in right now. Okay. 35.8009, comma, space, negative 84.5121, enter. There you go. So it takes me right there, right? Now I can look at satellite. I can click on 3D, zoom in a little bit. It looks pretty flat, and I can kind of scroll around like this to see what I'm looking for is, is a property in a ditch, in a ravine. Looks like it's pretty good. You see what I'm doing there? That's what I was trying to do in MapRight, but it was causing my computer to crash. So I'm going to turn it back to 2D. Let me zoom out a little bit. I want to see if there's any street views. I'm going to drag the yellow dude and there's nothing there, right? So let me go back to map. I'm going to zoom out a little bit and see kind of where I can get the closest street views. Oh, there is a street view there. Well, that's nice. Now it shows it to me. This is pictures taken in 2007. It's kind of what you see. Let me go back to the map. Let me zoom in right there again. Drag this dude to right there. All right, now we're looking at the property. You can kind of see it there. Okay. It's fascinating the difference in technology that 15, 16 years can give you. Very low image quality. All right, anyway. Now this property doesn't have, well, it might have an address. Let's look to see here. It doesn't have an address. It's just Beaver Trail. Sometimes what I do is I like to look at I know this property right here will have an address. So I'm going to click on that and it brings me the address right here. 200 Beaver Trail Lane, Kingston, Tennessee, 37763. And the reason why I want that is because I want to go into Zillow and I just want to paste that address in Zillow so it can take me to that neighborhood. All right. So it took me to that neighborhood. Now I can see on this map, we're looking at the property that's right here next to it. But now if I X out of here, that property, that vacant lot right here, now I can click on it and I get some information on it. Do you understand? Because you can't search for a property on Zillow unless it's an address. So now that property is in the center of the map. And I want to look at what are sold land comps in that area. So I'm looking at solds, looking at home type land, go to more, and lot size. Let's do 1/2 acre to 2 acres. And sold in the last 6 months. I'm going to zoom out until I get some comps. I'm going to remove boundary. So I have 7 results, sort low to high. I kind of know already based on, obviously a property that's on the water is going to have more value, right? but I've got 7 results here, even though it only shows 2. These are properties that are in this area and they're not mapped on that map yet. So I'm going to scroll down and kind of do what I did before, right, with this pebble thing. I'm going to clear all. There's 7 on the page. I'm going to save all. And I'm looking here now, the median and the average. I'm always going with the lower one. So the 47,468 an acre is the median price per acre on these lots. Okay. And if I'm going to make an offer, these are okay. When you're making offers on land, the cheaper the property, the more you want to be at the 25% range. The more expensive the property, you never want to go above making an offer at above 50%. General rules of thumb, right? So this is one of those properties that are not cheap. They're not super expensive. It's kind of a rule of thumb. It's not an exact science. There is no exact number formula to put into this. But, on a nicer price property like this, I'm going to be more at the 35% range. So if I take 47,468 times 40%, let me move this chat over here so I can see things better. Okay. 47,468 times 0.35. I'm going to offer 16,613. Kinda. That's going to be my first approximate number that I'm thinking in my head that I'm going to offer, because that's price per acre, right? But our property we're looking at is 1 acre. So just looking quickly at Zillow and the pebble numbers here, my first preliminary number. So what I kind of sometimes do is I like to come up with 2 or 3 different offers. I might look at what price says to offer, what I'm looking at from sold, what I'm looking at from actives, and kind of come up with 3 or 4 different numbers and then pick the lowest one. Now, if we go here, I'm going to clear all these numbers out. Let's go look at actives in this area. For sale, apply. Make sure when you do actives, you are saying days on Zillow any. There's 13, there's 3 here. Sorted low to high. I have to scroll all the way down to get all of the actives. Now I'm going to exclude the ones over $100,000 because I don't care anything about those. I'm just going to ignore them. All right. So now I have 10 listings, 1 FSBO. All right. Now I am going to use this pebble thing again. Oh, wait, make sure you scroll all the way down to get them all. Okay. Do the pebble thing, save all. Now I have a median price per acre, 48,965 and 47,290. So I'm going to go with the lower one, 47,290 times 0.35. 47,290 times 0.35. That gives me about real close, 16,551 an acre. Just looking at the price per acres here. All right, so that's kind of good to know. But these ones, let's just kind of look to see if we can find out where these are. They're not that close to the water, but it's on a cul-de-sac. Doesn't give me a link to a map anywhere. I'd have to do some digging to see how close this is to the lake. So I don't know if these are good comps or not. This might be a better comp, Melody, because it's closer to the lake. I don't know where these are, and they're not showing up on this map here. So you might ignore these. You have to see, where is Windsong Way? Like, this is our property here, right? I can see kind of on a map, see that finger of the lake right there. From here, let's just do a search for Windsong Way. Ah, there it is right there. There's Windsong Way. It's just on the other side of that finger. So those actually might be really good comps. But for some reason, Zillow is not. If I zoom in, there's Windsong Way right there. So this is your competition, Melody. These are two active lots that are similar in size to yours that are currently for sale for 15 grand. This is what you're competing against. And I would say these are pretty good active comps because they're just on the other side of the finger. That sounds funny. So now I'm looking at this thinking, all right, well, shoot. Dang it. Right? Like if I want to sell mine fast, I'm going to need to sell mine for like, well, general rule of thumb is I like to do 85%. So if I can see that these are 15 grand times 0.85, I'm going to have to sell mine for 12,750. So if I'm going to sell mine for 12,000, I'm going to list mine for 12,750 because I just want to sell them fast. I don't want to be a statistic on this that shows this property that's been on the market for a year, 2 years, 316 days, 296 days. So I'm going to sell mine for 2,750 or for 12,750, and I take that divided by 4. I'm going to offer $3,200. That's my offer. I should have done this on an iPad, but you see, I came up with kind of 3 different numbers: 16,500, 16,600, and 3,200. Well, I'm going to go always with the lower one. And when you're talking to the seller, because your offers are going to be so low, Melody, you probably should get on the phone with the seller and explain to them, listen, there are 2 properties on the other side of the finger that are bigger than yours that are for sale for 15 grand right now. And these guys just cut their price by 14 grand. They cut their price by 50%. So Melody, can you unmute yourself?
If this is great, by the way, thank you. If I get on the phone with him, do I tell him a number over the phone? I mean, we're taught to send a piece of paper because they changed their mind and they signed a contract on the table, right?
Well, Melody, I'm not sure I understand. Try one more time.
Okay. Oh, I'll talk slower. When I call him, do I tell him what I'll pay?
Okay.
On the phone.
Yeah. I'm gonna mute you again, Melody. Sorry about that. But I think what you're asking is, when I call him, should I tell him what I'm going to pay? No, you want to get that from him, first of all. Like, just like a house, when you're on the phone with the sellers, you're negotiating with them, you always make them come up with the number first. Okay. So my conversation, we can role play this, Melody, maybe a little bit here. I'll try, because it's hard to unmute you, but I would say, hey, Jim, how you doing? Joe here. I've been looking at your property here, and I don't know if this is going to work, but do you mind if I ask you some questions about your house, about this vacant lot, to see if it'd be something that I would be interested in? Cool. I'm just going to ask you some questions here. I'm going to maybe send you an offer, but I just want you to know that it's totally cool to say no. Like, I'm not going to put any pressure for you to do something that you don't want to do. And in fact, I'm probably going to suggest that you list this vacant lot with a realtor. Like, if you want the most property, if you want the most for your property, you really should list it with an agent. But I'll make you a cash offer. I just want to ask you some questions about it. Okay, cool. So I would ask them questions then about the utilities. Are there utilities on the property? And is there lake access? How do they get to the lake? So does it as part of an HOA? I'd ask about some restrictions of the HOA. And then I would say something like along the lines of, okay, cool, Jim. What are you hoping to do with this property? What's your goal? Do you want to sell it now? What's more important to you, Jim? Do you want to sell it fast or get the or get the highest price possible. One or the other. You want to sell it as quick as possible or get the most amount as possible. See what he says. I say, all right, well, if he says, I just want to sell it and get rid of it. I go, okay, great. What's the least you'd take for it? Chances are they usually say, I don't know. What's your offer? I say, I don't know either. To be honest, I don't even know if I want it. But like, you have a ballpark range of what you might think it's worth. And see what they say. So if they do not come back with a number, I would say, all right, well, I don't know if this is going to work for me. I'm looking right here, right now on Zillow, and I see there on the other side of the lake there, on the other side of the finger, there's 2 lots that are currently for sale for 15 grand. When I buy these lots, I turn around and I sell them with owner financing to people for payments or something like that. So I'm going to have to be way less than this. So what are we talking about here? And you're just trying to get a feel for where they're at. I'm trying at least 2 or 3 different ways. I just zoomed out and I found there's 4 properties that are listed for 15 grand right now. So I'd really try hard to get a number out from them. Like, what would make you happy? And I can say that, if once he gives me a number, I might say, oh, geez, is that the best you can do? Can you go any lower than that? I just don't think this is going to work. And then I would tell him, it sounds to me like, this is a nice lot. You should just list it with an agent. Why do you need to sell it so quickly? I'm trying to figure out their pain points. Why do they need to sell it so quickly? And I'm pulling away. I'm acting like the disinterested buyer just by asking some questions. There's a philosophy of going for no. And so, because I'm going to need to be probably around $2,000 or $3,000 if I'm going to offer this thing. I'm sure that's not going to work for you, right? I can give you 2 or 3 agents. And how do you find those agents too, by the way? You just look on Zillow, pull up these agents that are listing these properties and give them to him as a reference. And then if you can, just switch to solds real quick. And when I'm looking at solds with a seller on the phone, I go back 12 months, click apply, sort it from low to high. And I'll talk about, I see a sold here that sold for 16 grand that was half an acre bigger than yours. So I'm going to have to sell mine for 16 grand if I do owner financing on it. And he may say, well, look, there's this lot that down the street that sold for $55,000. Another one sold it for 44. And he said, I know that makes sense, but why would I want to pay you 44 for yours when I can buy one of these 5 other lots for $15,000? So anyway, so the answer to the question is you need to get on the phone with them if you can and talk to them, but you want to ask them what's the least they would take for the property. And then you ask them again, can you go any lower than that? Ask them again, well, I don't know if I can do this. Is that the absolute lowest you can go? Then I would kind of tell them where I'm going to need to be. Just be honest with them. And he may get really mad and upset, and that's fine. I would still send him an offer anyway. No matter how you end the conversation, I would still send an offer in the mail. Maybe don't text it to him. But I would email him the offer and I would send it in the physical mail. And I would tell him, Mr. Jim, it was good talking to you the other day. I know you probably don't want to sell your house, or sell your property right now at this price. But if circumstances change, I just want to give you an offer here that you can review and call me back if you change your mind. And also, by the way, here are 3 realtors that you can talk to. So what you could do here is you just change for solds, click apply, and you can see these agents right here. So you could give him in that letter the name and number of these realty companies. Melissa Davis, the Ferguson Company. There's another one, Coldwell Banker. Chris Hill, Coldwell Banker. So give them a list of 2 or 3 realtors that have sold properties recently. That way he's like, okay, I understand this investor, she's doing this for the money. She has to make a profit. And you're kind of helping them by you're giving them some realtors that sold properties there recently. But then this is really important. Follow up with that seller, because they're probably going to try to list it for 30, 40 grand and it's not going to sell. And after 3 months of follow up, they keep on getting a letter from you every 30 days with the same offer. They may be like, okay, forget it. I'm done dealing with this stupid thing. I just want to get rid of it. Who is that lady that keeps on bothering me again? What they're going to pull up your letter because emails get deleted. They go to spam, text messages get lost or whatever. They get blocked. But letters, everybody reads and opens their letters for the most part, right? And so they may throw it away, but a lot of times sellers, they'll keep a letter in their junk drawer or they'll keep it in a pile of mail. And then a month, 2 months later, they really want to sell it. They just want to be done with it. And they go through their old mail and they find your letter and then they call you. But they're going to, depending on his motivation level, how quickly he wants to sell. Sometimes you just need to let sellers cook. And I'm sure these other sellers here are furious. They've been trying to sell theirs for $35,000, $46,000, $47,000. And there's these 4 other lots that are now listed for sale for 15 grand. I mean, that's pretty unfortunate for the rest of them, but that's the way it goes. Okay. Anyway, good, Melody. Thanks for sharing that. Let me show you guys one more thing. This property here. Okay. I'm going to just try to copy that parcel ID real quick. And let's look at what comes up in the comp report from Priced. This is Rowan, right? Let's see what they say. I have a sneaky suspicion their offer is going to be too high. While it's generating that report, I'm going to open it up. Something else in Price that you can look at that might be helpful for you guys. We're going to go we're just going to click Priceland. And I'm going to type in that county, Rowan County, Tennessee. I'm going to advanced search. Let's do 0.5 to 1.5 acres. We're going to look at 0.25 acreage increment. And we're going to scroll down. We're going to look at all the properties that are there. So I'm not doing any kind of exclusions here for, we got to do one thing. We got to do zip code, where the zip code is 37763. 37763. 37763. You could do subdivision possibly, but let's just do zip code. Okay. I don't care about sale date or anything. I just want all of them. I'm going to click search. So now it's giving me all of the properties that are in that zip code. And the cool thing about Price is it's going to give me comps that I can download. Well, shoot. All right. There were 1,100 in that zip code. But you can see here now I get some comps. And there's 277 comps in 1 to 1.24 acres. So you could do something like this. Let's take 0.75 and 1.24. So 0.75 to 1.24 acres. I selected those 2 rows, and between them there are 500 comps. And then right here, look, you can click this for sale and sold comps right here. And based on all of those comps, and there's 31 pages of these, you get now you can export them. And you can export all of them into a spreadsheet. And I'll show you what that looks like here in a second. And that spreadsheet will give you all of the Zillow and Redfin links. So you can go look at the property if you want. These are comps that are going to show you. All right, let me show you the spreadsheet here, guys. New share, Excel. Let me do stop share. Let me do a share again. Share Excel. All right. You see my Excel spreadsheet, Melody? Okay. You guys see that? The cool thing about this then is now you can do whatever you want. If you're good with spreadsheets, you can get in here and start playing with it. And I like to add some filters there. So now if I scroll to the bottom of this thing, I have 277 comps in here. So you could get in here and start playing with it, and you could let's remove anything above $100,000. So I just delete. Now I have, 234 results. And I see I have now my price per acre here. So I could do something like equals median price per acre, 30,369. That's median. I could do average equals average 35. You see what I'm doing? All right. So just playing with this spreadsheet based on all those comps. I could also do, I could say, all right, well, show me just the solds. It brings me all this, just the solds. And then I could go down here and I could say, give me the median of just the solds. And the median of just the solds is $29,706 an acre. So the reason I wanted to show that to you guys is with price, you can export all of their comps into a spreadsheet and start messing around with it if you like spreadsheets and stuff, right? Cool. Let me show you one more thing here in this stuff. Oh yeah, we were going to look at that comp report, weren't we? Did it download? Let me go find it here. Did it come up? The APN wasn't found. I did something wrong. You'd have to play with that APN some more. Rowan County. Let's try it with this format. Now there's some spaces in there. Let's see if this comes up with anything. Nope. All right. Well, well, you're just going to have to play with the comp report a little bit because it's very helpful. You saw me show one earlier, but you got to get the APN number correct. All right. So, thanks everybody for taking the time to review these things. Oh, Jason. Jason had a deal. Let me see what my schedule looks like right now. Oh, I have a podcast 2 months. Hold on 1 second, guys. Sorry, guys. I do need to go. Jason, you had a deal And Jason, would you do me a favor? I'm going to do this in a separate video. Okay. It's 3 different deals. I'm going to copy this. And Jason, I'm going to pull this up here. Jason's deal. All right. So, all right, Jason, you gave me something to download too. All right, you gave me a comp report on this deal. Nice. So Jason, just so I'm clear, I'm going to do another video on this because I want to, it's one deal, 3 parcels side by side. Okay. Because this call went wonky, I'm going to do we're going to end this Zoom call here. I'm going to redo my deal reviews and I'll be a lot more concise and try my best to put them out there as good content. And yeah, we'll go from there. Okay. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you all very much. We'll see you. Bye-bye.